So first of all, thank you so much for lovely introduction. Thank you so much. Coimbra is just one of the peaks, but the intent is to this is a new passion that I've developed to test my limit, and it will continue. So we are looking at things like Chandrashila Peak and so on and so forth. But that's for the break time discussion. Uh, I would like to first thank the IAMCP organization, especially TechGyan, for providing this platform to Microsoft as well to meet and greet with partners like you. So thank you so much. My name is Anand Jethalia. I'm part of OCP, or the partner organization in Microsoft, especially looking after the modern workplace. Now, before I move ahead, just a quick show of hands. How many of you have heard about or worked on modern workplace or M365? Just quick show of hands. Okay, that's good to know. So in the next 30 odd minutes, I'll talk about the key priorities of Microsoft in the modern workplace side for FY20, as well as what are the opportunities that partners like you have in this space. Moving on. So before I talk about M365, let me give a little bit more context on what's happening. So, you know, Microsoft has been in the productivity business for close to about 40 plus years, or I should say since its existence, Microsoft has been a key player in the productivity business, right? Now, while we understand that, but with M365 or Microsoft 365, we are changing the course of, or we are changing the vision of our product. We all have been using things like PowerPoint, Word, etc. At either you're already using it or you have used at some point in time. So we are all familiar with the productivity tools. But today I'll talk about what are we bringing as part of M365 in the cloud. Now, so you would have seen that Office 365 is a productivity tool, but M365, as I said, we are moving with the vision. We are putting, or we are bringing a human-centric approach in it, which essentially means we are bringing people right in the middle or center of the work that we are doing. So there is a lot of, you can say, R&D and investment that we are making in understanding what our users are going through, what are the productivity challenges they are facing, and then creating tools that are that can work to overcome those issues. Moving on, so with that vision, we cascaded, or that led us to three important pillars of M365. The first one is connected experience. Connected experience is our productivity suite, which gives the flexibility to the end users, as well as allows them to collaborate with their partners, with their colleagues, internally and externally. We understand the way things are shaping, the way people collaborate today is very, very different. And we all today, while we are here, the work does not stop. We are all working. We have access to emails. We are chatting with our colleagues and the things. So work never stops. We are using, everybody of us is using 2 or 3 devices to get our work done. And that's where we are bringing that flexibility in the connected experience. The second one is integrated workflow. Again, productivity is just one part of it, but when you have to get your work done, it has to be in the context of the business process and in the organization, and hence we are bringing it right into the M365 suite. See products like Flow and Power Apps, etc., helps bring the modern tools right into the business applications of the enterprise. So everything becomes, the communication and collaboration becomes very, very contextual of what you are trying to achieve. And the third piece is, as my esteemed speaker just spoke about, security. Security is extremely important as we are moving in a world where data is exploding and we are working across devices. One thing that is becoming extremely crucial for IT especially is how do I secure my assets and corporate data. And this is where security comes in. Now you would see we are using one word more and more, which is intelligence. So there is a layer. While we talk about the productivity tools, we talk about the security and compliance tool. One thing that you will see Microsoft becoming more and more consistent and putting a lot of R&D is into bringing intelligence into each of our platform and products. Here you will see why these three pillars are there, because see, at the end of the day, we want organizations to work today we have realized that there is always a constant kind of a friction between the business side of it, which wants to provide the best of the productivity tools to their employees so that they are more and more efficient and effective. While there is IT, which always continues to fret on what will happen moment the data goes outside or the access goes outside, how do I control? So with you can say security and productivity tools right into M365, we are bringing, or we are kind of aligning the goals of both business as well as the IT team. Moving on, so purely so you have looked at what is the kind of, you can say, in the M365, what are the three pillars. Now let me spend a little bit time on what are the key priorities of Microsoft in the modern workplace or M365 space. The first one is, and this is where please look at areas of your interest where either you're already having services or you're trying to build services. The first one is teamwork. It is basically, the way we put this is teamwork is all about the productivity tools again. And here we see two big opportunities for all of us, partners as well as for Microsoft. One is there are still quite a few users who are using free or freemium models of email and collaboration tools. Clearly, there are a lot of risks associated with us, and there is opportunity to move those customers and users onto business email and platform like Teams, which I will be talking subsequently. The second big opportunity is first line workers. Now, till now, we have just scraped the surface by going to the enterprise users in any organization, big or small. But there is close to about 2.5 billion users who we call it as first line users, who till now did not have the right kind of tools. These guys are the first line of contact, be it people in customer care or people in showrooms, retail stores, etc. They are the people who are generally first point of contact for customers and represent any organization's brand, and hence right now, organizations have started looking at how do we enable those guys who are there in the first line. This is a massive, massive opportunity for all of us to go and tap. Microsoft is putting a lot of investment and energy behind it, and would be great if you guys can also come along. The second one is, once our enterprises and customers start using these services, then there is a, you can say, opportunity to upsell Office Pro Plus, as well as Windows 10, which is Office Pro Plus, as you know, is our Office on the cloud now, which is all the time, it is, you can say, latest and greatest features. As we bring in, it will all be available in the Office Pro Plus. The big thing is it allows you to work on 5 devices, and we are constantly adding features onto it. Windows 10, as you know, it is an inbuilt security OS kind of a platform. So it takes care of your device, and Office works great on Windows 10. The third one is, as the customers mature and they start using these kind of products on the cloud, there is a big opportunity of selling advanced security and compliance onto those set of customers to maximize your revenue. And we have seen there is a, you can say, study that we have done with Forrester, which shows that for every dollar spent by an organization on security product, OEM-led security product, there is a 2x revenue that is there for a partner to make on the services that comes along with that. Right, because you know, every organization, there is a, you can say, a disparate kind of system, and that's where it is extremely important that they are kind of able to bridge this gap, which is where the partners like you come into picture. Moving on, I will spend a little bit time on on the three pillars that I spoke about, which is teamwork, the get modern, and security. So on the teamwork, now we all know today you go and talk to any CEO or any CXO in the organization, transforming the workplace collaboration is one of the, you can say, topmost agendas of every single person. Now, in the process of doing that, one of the things that they have gone ahead and done is looked at multiple products or point products and given to their enterprises. The challenge with this kind of system is one, it's a broken kind of system where every time when you move, for example, let's say you are talking to somebody on email. Now suddenly there is a requirement of moving on to, let's say, getting into a quick kind of a call. You start moving, the users start moving platform. Moment you move from one platform or one solution to the other, the context gets lost. And this is where, while the organizations are spending a lot of dollars in bringing the shiny products, but still they feel that the productivity is not up to the mark. It is because one of the big reasons is this one. So what we are doing is bringing one single product for the thing which we are calling Teams. Just again, a quick show of hands. How many of you are using Teams in your organization? Impressed. Thank you. Okay, great. So Teams is a chat platform from Microsoft, but it provides multi-dimensional kind of communication capability. So if you have to look at the key, you can say, aspect that it provides is one, communication, which includes the chat, meetings platform, as well as calling platform. So from communication perspective, it covers all the areas. Then it's a collaboration platform where you can, instead of sending files to the other person, the thing, you can actually start co-author on documents together. So how many times, and this is, at least we have seen a lot often, that when we are working on a common presentation to be worked on, and the teams are spread across different geographies, we work on, I add something, I send a version 3. By the time the presentation is fully ready, we have 20 or 30 versions of that presentation. But all that is history now, because with this, what you're doing is, moment, let's say you're working on a common project, you quickly create a Teams channel and start working on it. Moment you do that, in the backend, a SharePoint file automatically, or SharePoint site automatically gets open. When you work on it, automatically all the changes are stored in one place. So if I have to go, let's say I'm working with my colleague who's in the US, working on the same project, whatever he or she has done it in the US time zone, I just pick up in my India time zone and I start working on the same file, right? So that is the power of you can say collaboration. Then it also provides extensibility to other apps. Now that is again important, because we all know it's a, you can say, not a Microsoft only world. There are other applications that every enterprise today uses. How do you still make the task easier for the end user to not look at multiple areas for work? This is where we have integrated with applications, both with third-party applications as well as our own applications, which you can bring in right within the Teams platform, right? So it's all about how can you get your work done in the fastest and I would say the most effective way. The fourth element is security. Again, security and compliance is something that is ingrained in every single product that we bring to the market, including Teams. Right from the ground up, it is secure. Now Teams is Microsoft's fastest growing software product till date. We already have more than 500K plus organizations who are using it, 98% of Fortune 500 who are using it. So we have got a great response, overwhelming response in just 2.5 years on this product. Obviously, we will continue to grow it further, but the idea is Teams, you have to look at not as a product. It's a platform where a lot of applications can be developed on or around Teams. Moving on the modern desktop. Now here I just want to highlight the immediate opportunity that is there in front of us. As most of you would know, Windows 7 is coming end of support in January 2020. And there was one article just a couple of weeks ago in a English business daily, which said that there are still 44% of the devices in India, PCs in India, which are still running on legacy systems. So clearly there is a massive opportunity for all of us to be able to go and talk to the customers, explain the benefit of moving on to the Windows 10. We did one analysis, and this was specifically for the SMB segment, but I have to tell you that it is kind of same for other segments as well, where a lot of customers still are not 100% aware that by January 2020 their Windows 7 will not be available, this thing. So there is clearly a big opportunity in front of all of us to go and talk about it. The other compelling event that's coming is Office 2020. As you know, we are doing away, or we are ending the support for Office 2010 in October 2020. So these are the two big compelling events, and as sellers, as partners, you all understand the value of compelling event. There is, you can say, a event happening in the market. It is time, or it is an opportunity in front of all of us to go and leverage, talk about the Pro Plus, move the customers onto cloud Office, and talk about Windows 10 from an operating system point of view. Moving on to the third piece, which is security and compliance. Again, Rustam covered this in great detail, so I will not get into the product or the market. We all understand the value of security and compliance today. But I just want to highlight the thing that when you look at the Microsoft portfolio, we are looking at our philosophy is, or our product line is based actually on our philosophy is to protect the users from the cyber threats. Detect, we all absolutely understand that there is no case of 100% protection. There will always be a scenario in the digital world where there will be some miss out. It's important to recognize and see how fast you are able to detect as well as respond to the threats in containing, and that actually helps in containing the loss that any organization goes through. So it's a complete cycle, and Microsoft has the product which talks, or which has, you can say, which ensures protection, detection, as well as remediation in the fastest possible manner. Just from a high level view of the product lines that we have is, so we have categorized into 4 pillars. The first one is identity and access management. It is all about, today we understand that periphery or perimeter security is not good enough, because the way we work has completely changed. There was a time when we used to work, most of our work used to happen from the office PC, and hence the network security or the perimeter security used to be more than sufficient for any enterprise. But we all work from airports, from hotels, from everywhere. There, when you try and access the same you can say files and documents and data, corporate data, it is important that the organization knows that you are who you are claiming to be, right? This is where identity becomes extremely important, and in the identity and access management, we are kind of bringing that element where through the password authentication, or in fact password-less authentication and multi-factor authentication, we are making sure that identity is taken care of. And then there is a conditional access, because a lot of times we realize that you may not be in a you can say great network or a trusted kind of a network. So how do you kind of on the fly, how are you able to either completely decline the access, or give a partial access, or provide a full access? So this is all part of the identity access management. The second one is the threat protection, which is all about how do you protect against the advanced kind of threats that are coming in. The third piece is the information protection, which is data. We all know that data is exploding. As somebody was just mentioning, that data is the new oil, but with data comes the cybersecurity is the biggest threat that is kind of looming, and hence there is a complete cycle. So we absolutely understand that the data can be stored in a third-party cloud, in a Microsoft cloud, in any other cloud, on devices or PCs, how do you ensure that wherever the data goes, in the entire journey, the protection is on the data rather than on the device or etc. So in this, you will find that it's a complete data lifecycle management from the time you create a data to the purging of the data. I'm sure a lot of you have come across GDPR and the kind of this thing where there is also now, or even our own DPA bill, which should come in soon. We are all talking about there has to be a life of data as well. There is no point in creating and storing data which is of no use. So this is where the entire data lifecycle is managed by information protection suite of products. The fourth piece is security management, which is all about making the life easier for the IT staff, which has to deal with multiple products, both from a configuration, from a visibility point of view. How do you make sense when you are running, let's say, a 20, 30 kind of a product as a CISO? How do I make it? So this is where products like Azure Sentinel, and again, I promise that I will not get into the product details, but this is where we are kind of creating a single orchestration layer where you are able to have a complete view of security and vulnerability in your organization, and are able to also quickly take action around it. So again, identity and access management, threat protection, information protection, and security management. Moving on. So I have spoken about the three key pillars or priorities of Microsoft, and there must be a question, okay, so what's Microsoft doing in terms of investment in driving these three pillars in the marketplace? So this is where at the start of our financial year, which is July 2019, we launched a program called Microsoft 365 Accelerator, which is again focused on E5, which is again advanced security, acquiring new customers through teamwork, and driving active usage of Teams as well as of Office Pro Plus and Windows. In this program, basically we are making a multi-million-dollar investment from our side in driving assessments. Now, why assessments are important, or let me talk about what do we do in security assessment. We realize that when you go and talk to customer and you start talking about the product and you kind of show a demo, etc., it just doesn't cut ice, because every customer believes that they have already taken care of their security requirements and they are doing good. What we have done is launched a security assessment program, which is essentially first, so there are three phases of security assessment. First, you go and understand the goals and requirements and priorities of a customer. So you spend it's a pre-engagement day kind of a scenario where you talk to customer and understand what are the, you can say, priorities on the security and compliance. Then you activate a E5 trial for the customer, where in the customer environment you're kind of activating it. What essentially happens is, during this period, because it is running in the customer's live environment, it is picking up signals and vulnerabilities and threat from the customer's environment. And then there is a third, you can say, interaction with the customer, where you, after let's say 2 or 3 weeks of running this trial for the customer, you go and present their story. Now we have seen, and it's a massive success that we are seeing, that when customers see actual threats in their own environment, that is when they realize that there is a big gap which needs to be filled, and there are kind of vulnerabilities that still exist in their organization. So there is a security workshop. Similarly, there is a compliance workshop. It's a 3-day kind of engagement with the customer, which is driven entirely by the partner. 3-day, but in between, as I said, when you activate, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks for the results to come out, to pull out the report. So in a way, it takes about 3 weeks kind of a, you can say, effort by a partner for the customer. On the Teams assessment, again, this is about understanding. So it's a business development or BDM, or we call it a business decision maker kind of a workshop, where teams is a new way of work. It is not a as I just mentioned earlier, it's not a product that we have to, it's a new way of work, and that's why we are creating it, or we are showcasing it as a platform. Now in this, what we do is, first you kind of ensure that at least there is hygiene factors are taken care of, the customer bandwidth, etc. is in place. But more importantly, you spend time with the BDM. There are a lot of, you can say, use cases and industry specific you can say use cases are there, which you can go and talk to the BDMs in the organization, business folks, and arrive at the art of possibility. What all things you can do. As an example, as we told you that today, in Microsoft, we looked at that we were all using our leave management, our booking of rooms, etc. were all a disconnected kind of experiences. But now from the Teams platform, I'm able to just interact with a bot and able to book a room. First of all, identify or find a room in my office, which room is available, and I'm able to also book that room. Similarly, with my leave application, I'm just interacting right in my Teams interface. I'm kind of looking at what's my leave balance. I apply for it. It gives me information that these dates are, there's a Saturday, Sunday in between. So you will see that these are the kind of the thing that every business guy will appreciate and understand, and will be able to invest. So there is a complete kit around it which a partner can use to be able to land a business conversation around Teams assessment in this assessment. The third piece is Windows 10 assessment. As I said, here we are talking about one, there are two types of assessment that we do. One is a desktop compatibility analysis. One of the things that based on our conversation with the customer is that customers still fear that Windows 7 has been so ingrained in their environment that they fear what will happen to their applications that are running, what will happen to all the devices that are using. And that is the reason, as I said, there are close to about 40+% which are still running on the older version of Windows. So what we do is elevate this pain and confusion of customer, where you just run a small, you can say, test or a assessment with the customer. We call it a desktop compatibility analysis. What it essentially does is two things. One, it looks at what are the different versions of you can say operating system or Windows that organization is running, both Windows as well as Office version that you're running. So at least on day one, you are kind of clear from a stocking perspective, okay, these are the number of PCs that I need to work upon. So that's one. Second, it looks at your LOB or the line of business applications, your other applications that are running in the environment, and it checks the compatibility of Windows 10 with those applications. Third, it comes out with a summarized view or report of what are the blockers and challenges that you may have when you move to Windows 10 environment. What are the kind of things that you need to plan? So there is a little bit of planning that is required, and again, this is where partner role becomes critical. But with these kind of tools, you can actually work in a very, very smooth way, and it's important that customer gets confidence before embarking on this journey. Customer gets confidence on what they will gain and what's the kind of risk that they have. Moving on. So this is a busy slide. My intent is not to take you through this entire slide, but I want to give you a the big message here is this is a sales journey that Microsoft follows, and you will see that partner plays an extremely critical role in the entire sales journey from demand generation, which is, we call it identify value, or where you create awareness, etc. From there up to the adoption, deployment, and adoption stage. And this is where some of the enablers that we partner with you, or we provide you is there will be a lot of marketing assets that you will find in the partner side. Transform.microsoft.com, you will find there are loads of, you can say, material that is there for partners to leverage and drive this conversation. Then there are some of the funded programs which I just spoke about, which is the Microsoft Accelerator program. A partner for driving each assessment in the organization can get up to $5,000. So let's say in an organization, you're driving 3 projects. Security is one. Teamwork is one, because these are different projects and can be driven in parallel. And the third one is the Windows 10. For every assessment that you drive, partners can get up to 5,000 USD. Then there are other tools and content. We've realized that when you go and talk to the customer and you have kind of landed the value, the next immediate point will be how does it look like on my TCO? And this is where, again, there are ready-made calculators that are available, which you can use and showcase to partners that how commercially the solution makes sense. And then there are some of the other guidance, etc. To a partner, again, we are providing E5 trials as well. Again, as I said, that it is important that customers should experience this, and whosoever has experienced this have liked the product and they want to move forward with it. So this is where there is a E5 trial guidance as well. And finally, there is a deployment and adoption revenue attached to it, both in terms of partner incentive as well as then there are fast track benefits that are available as well. Moving on, so look at these partner materials that are there. I've just listed down some of this thing on M365, which is what is the partner opportunity. You will get a lot of details around it on this one. Then there are the business value tools, and the value calculator is just one part of it. But you will actually find that there is a you can say quite a rich portfolio of data there. And then there is a partner accelerator. If nothing else, please visit this site and look at the kind of things that you can do in driving the assessments, fast track partner opportunity, and then there are readiness and skills. The MPN or the Microsoft Partner Community is a very, very strong community. If you are not already a member of MPN, please do so, and you will see, at least you will learn over a period of time on what we are doing. With that, my official presentation is done. Over. Thank you so much. I am open for any questions.